The Congress of Traditional Leaders of South Africa is calling on law enforcement officials to deal harshly with those implicated in extorting money from the parents of initiates. It's as follows: reports indicating that gangs are forcing parents to pay protection fees in order to ensure the safety of their children. It's alleged that if parents refuse, the gangs proceed to torture these initiates by starving them and denying them water, which of course brings their health into question, at least puts it under threat. Contralesa's General Secretary is Zolani Mkiva, and he joins us now via our video link. Great to have you on the program, sir. Thanks very much indeed for making time to speak to us. Yet another challenge for initiates who, let's face it, have faced many other challenges given some of the complications sometimes that they experience while undergoing this rite of passage. What do you know about these reports and these extortion syndicates apparently targeting these schools?
Thank you very much, my brother, and good morning to you and as well as the viewers. Indeed, we have received a confirmation from our provincial structures in the Eastern Cape and the Western Cape that there has been cases of extortion. And this includes, amongst others, that these extortionists, they go into the initiation schools and then they demand the particulars of the parents of the initiates. And then from there, once they have the addresses and the location, they then go and make demands to the parents, and they then threaten the parents that if they don't heed their demand of the amount of money that they are demanding, then they threaten the lives of those initiates. So it's something that is really a heinous crime, which is quite deplorable, and it is not something that we could expect from fellow Africans, and we're asking ourselves, what has happened to their humanity? What has happened to their Africanity? It's really something that we condemn in the strongest terms possible, and that's why we are asking for the community members to come together to ensure that we isolate these aliens that are behaving in a non-African manner so that they can be apprehended and be handed over to the law enforcement agencies. We want the police in particular to come very heavy-handed on them. They must employ a high-cost clampdown because it can't be accepted that in this day and age, in a new dispensation, in a post-colonial Africa, that we have fellow Africans who behave in this manner.
It does raise questions about whether or not the initiates, generally speaking, are sitting ducks. I mean, is there any way to protect them, especially around this time of the year?
Well, my brother, we have been making a clarion call as Contralesa that let us not use an ad hoc arrangement in the management of the initiation season in South Africa. We need to formalize them. We need to have an annual plan, and that plan should include safety and security, because our children, they go to the mountains, they go to the forest, and we need proper security there. And it can't just be a security mechanism and a security detail developed by communal people without any capacity and equipment at their hands. So we need police to ensure that in their plans, they take into account the initiation season so that the initiation schools themselves are safe spaces for the children, because they spend a month or two there, and we can't leave things to chance in a country that has got a high level of criminality. So indeed, it is a call that we're making that police must help us to ensure that in all the positions where the initiation schools are located, there should be police visibility. Of course, working hand in glove with traditional authorities.
Right. Of course, what these extortionists are doing is completely wrong and abhorrent. But would you agree that essentially they're exploiting a weakness that's been there for years?
Well, we cannot say the weakness has been there for years. This is a new phenomenon. There has been a time where the spiritual spaces are highly regarded and highly respected as a no-go areas when it comes to that type of behavior. It's a new phenomenon, and it has come about in the recent times when there's been an escalation of criminality. I can tell you, my brother, that the issue of the bogus initiation schools, for instance, it's something that began about 15, 20 years ago. It was not there in 1994. It was not there in 2004. But from that time onwards, from 2004 coming this way, it has then been growing by leaps and bounds. So it's a new phenomenon. So we need to push back and ensure that we use everything that we have as a resource above the surface to kill this thing, to arrest it completely, because there was a time when there were no deaths in the initiation school. It's a new phenomenon, clearly.
What I meant by my question is that the fact that, for example, initiates hadn't had protection is not a new issue that especially Contralesa has raised. I remember for quite a while, in fact, there had been calls for some kind of regulation to ensure that the mortality rate is dropped and to ensure that people who are on the mountains are safe.
Well, the communal security mechanism was enough at the time that I was pointing to. So the community itself formed part and parcel of the defense wall around the initiation schools, which is something that we still do, but it is not enough in an environment where now you have criminals that are armed with machine guns, automatic rifles, which is something that we have never had. So we are saying we need to augment the community safety and security detail with the police security detail. So you are correct that we never needed to make this call, but we are forced and bound by circumstances right now to call on the police to be visible right in the spaces which we refer to as spiritual spaces or sacred grounds. We don't have a choice.
Another issue plaguing these communities. Zolani Mkiva, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us.